Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV. After a couple weeks break, it's once again time for the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup. Round 3 of Season 8 here, presented by Bowler Media and WormPaints. We are at the Chicago Street Course for this third round of the season, the first of 2 street circuits that we go to this season, including Long Beach later on. It's going to be an interesting one. It's been a while since we've had a race here on SimSpeed. Last time I can remember is the NTE series, and of course that was a very interesting race indeed. We got 2 races coming up for the Porsches tonight, so let's jump into it live on YouTube, Facebook, and Kick. It's myself, Reese Gardner, with Brady Baldwin alongside me in the comms box. Jay Kennedy handling production as per usual. Brady, Chicago is actually a pretty underrated track in my opinion. Looks super simple from the air, but lovely and wide and plenty of long straights. Should be some good overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, I think so too, Reece. Thank you for the introduction once again as we head on into downtown Chicago, like you touched on. It's obviously a street circuit. It's always going to be tough, but compared to a few of the others on the service like Detroit, Belle Isle and Long Beach, it is quite a bit wider on the straights and through the corners, but if you make one little mistake, you are going to be in the tire bundle or in the wall, so there's still no margin for error.
Yeah, of course, this track has undergone a few changes already. It was initially built in iRacing by iRacing themselves. They went out and scanned the streets of Chicago and put together a layout for NASCAR, who was looking to hold a race in the downtown area. And of course, the 2023 Cup layout highlighted in white. In the red parts, you see the original layout that iRacing put on the sim. Changes are small, but they do make a bit of a difference, Brady, particularly the turn 4 and 5 area. A little bit of a straighter run into that right-hand kink, and plenty of skill required to shift right for turns 10 and 11.
100% race, and one thing that sticks out to me looking at the track map, there's a lot of heavy braking zones, which to me means more opportunity for passing. So I think it should provide some pretty good races tonight. I think it'll be a little bit chaotic, as every street circuit is, but I think there'll be plenty of opportunity for these drivers to make moves, especially, turn 1, turn 2, obviously very good overtaking opportunities, and then obviously into 6 and 7 as well. Then if you're brave enough, into 11 and 12, but I think it'll be pretty processional through 8, 9 and 10 as it's a pretty technical part of the racetrack, and these cars on cold tyres as well is going to make it even harder once again.
Yeah, should be a pit stop in race 2, which might just make that a bit interesting. This is the format for tonight. Group qualifying, of course, which is taking place at the moment. We'll see what the standings were in the first group before we get into live pictures. But they go into 2 races, 15 laps and 30 laps. Race 2 with a reverse top 12, restricted fuel tank. There's possibly going to be pit stops in race 2. The fuel tank size was reduced pre-event just to make it a little bit more difficult for drivers to make it without a stop. And, well, this circuit being what it is, Brady, there's a big chance for safety cars, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, certainly, Race, as you touched on, and we'll go to the championship standings. Corey Lazarus in the Blackout Motorsport 484 machine leading the championship. Unfortunately, he touched on it last week, the last round, sorry. that he will be away for this round. Luckily, there is one drop round for each driver in this series, so there will be a change of lead in the championship after tonight, whether it be Dylan Shepherd or Matt Bowler or anyone else behind them who really knows. But round 1 winner Andrew Dyson, fortunately, did not have a really good run at VIR 2 weeks ago. So he's down in 5th, but just that top 10 is very, very competitive race, and I assume it'll be much of the same here tonight.
Yeah, indeed it will. I'm looking at a big battle there between a 3rd and 4th in Pro, and of course Hayden Smith is the Pro-Am class leader. It's looking like he has a fantastic level of pace over the rest of the Pro-Am field, but you can't keep Linsell, Ireland, and Veld out of it either. It's certainly been fantastic to see the upturn in pace from the Pro-Am class this season.
100% reason. You see guys like Smith and Ireland were battling up front. Last week gave VIR up with the pros, so they've certainly been turning it on, and it'll be another fantastic championship battle in the M class as well between the two Riot Sim Racing teammates. Shout out to Scotty Rankin. He's on Riot Sim Racing, and only 3 points separating Dawson and Lawrence coming into round number 3. So it'll be very interesting to see how those guys fare tonight. They've been pretty well the class of the field so far in M, so we'll see how their fortunes come out tonight.
Absolutely, we will. Brilliant turnout in all 3 classes. These were the results from Group 1. Ryan Jones being part of Group 1. No surprise to see that he set the fastest time, but it was very close with him, David Clark and Connor Nixon. Dawson taking the AM class pole for this one, followed by Anderson, Taylor, and Lawrence. So I'll be interested to see what Stefan Lawrence can do in this round. And it's all rounded out by Nicholas Garriott, who was a bit off the rest of the Pro-Am guys. David Leslie, the slowest car at the moment, but with this likely being a race of attrition, there's a chance for him to make up positions. Group 2 qualifying is active now, and we can go to live pictures. Already seeing that Andrew Dyson and Matthew Boylett have put in stonkingly fast lap times, putting themselves into 2nd and 3rd, but we're still waiting for the next few times to come in. You mentioned, Brady, the tyres. They take a while to warm up in this car, so it's going to take a couple of laps before we start seeing really quick times from these drivers. But this circuit being as difficult as it is, concrete walls on both sides, there's a chance you might not be able to get that second lap in.
Yeah, 100%. As we see Andrew Dyson, he goes to the top now. First time into the 125s in qualifying, but I will suspect more times to drop in. Ben Pedersen goes to position number 2 with a 26.0, so the times are starting to ramp up now. The one thing about this circuit, the street circuit, concrete walls all around you, one slight touch of that wall, that will invalidate your laps. So see a lot of guys from the previous session, a lot of guys in this session still have not set a representative lap time or any lap time whatsoever. So I think a lot of guys are pushing the limit, and you got to be really careful not to try and get a 0x against the wall, because you won't have any lap time to show for it.
Indeed. Car 606 making its way around. Sam Sproul going through the last turn now past the pits, and should be the end of a lap here for him. Hopefully he hasn't tapped the wall, and he hasn't. 126.74 for him, and that puts him all the way up into 12th spot. Nicely done there. Fastest time so far have been Andrew Dyson, obviously, but he also topped practice on a 124.796. Interested to see what Job Stewart can do as well. Stewart, of course, competing in the V8 Sculpts Bathurst 1000 over the weekend with Andrew Gilliam, part of the new squad with Altus Esports, as that was a little bit of a whoopsie moment for the car behind. Let's see what he can do then coming into this fountain section through turn 7. This is turn 8. There's no margin for error through that section. Turn 9, a bit faster than you think. You can carry a lot of speed through there. And then turn 10, Cisco Scaramuzza's favourite corner, I suppose, with all of the McDonald's signage around it. And then just a straight run over the bridge, over the railway, down to the final corner. Stewart has been a very quick driver in past seasons of this series, and he won by a landslide the opening race of the season at Sebring. 126.095 for him. That's good enough for 3rd at the moment, but he's certainly looking for better this season. Race 2 at Sebring didn't go his way, and he missed round 2.
Yeah, 100% race. And also Job's competing in the Porsche Super Cup Contender Series, which is the qualification series for the World Championship for Porsche on iRacing. So certainly more laps for him, the better. And obviously he has a lot of speed to give out. So P3 at the moment, surprise, he's 2/10 off Dyson, but I'm sure he's still got a lot left in reserve with 10 minutes remaining as we go to the 27th Tyson Broad. He'll do a 1:27.0. Still fair way down the order for Tyson, unfortunately P23. And one thing I did note, compared to the first 2 rounds at Sebring VIR, very high speed circuits. Top speed here tonight, drivers will only be going just over 225 kilometers an hour, so very low speeds in comparison to the first 2 rounds, and a lot of on throttle action. 59% of the lap race full throttle around here, so it's pedal to the metal.
Absolutely is. It is certainly an American street circuit with right-angle bends dominating the layout here. Josh Van Treek, 10th overall, and 10th in Pro-Am, I should say. He's looking good here. He obviously didn't have the best of luck at VIR last round, so he'll be hoping for something a little better this time round. Through turn 8, he's got some drivers very close in front. Hayden Veld just letting him go there in his brand new Evolution Racing Team paint. Veld making the move to ERT just about a week ago. So Van Treek going to the final corner now. Looks like a car stopped there. That's Corey McFarlane, who is part of the Drop Bear squad with Tyson Broad. And it looks like Van Treek is done with that lap as Matt Bowler goes fastest. 1 minute 25.69. Still not quite towards the 124s that we saw in practice, but we'll get there.
Yeah, it's a very nice lap for the number 12 Bowler there. I think that's going to take some beating. That's a very good lap. He's just got over 10th over Andrew Dyson, who we've seen has race-winning speed in that 41 machine. He obviously took out the round win at Sebring, so I think Bowles got a pretty good time to beat, but I think we still got a few laps to come in from guys like Job Stewart, Sebastian Flock, and shout out also to Ryan Jones. He was part of that first qualifying session. He's still P number 8, so very impressive effort for the driver with the number 11.
Yeah, that time has definitely served him well so far. Here's Hayden Smith, meanwhile. We do apologise to Hayden for mispronouncing his name in the first couple of rounds. Sometimes when you see a Y in the middle of the name, you immediately default to the I phonetic sound. But it is Hayden Smith making his way through turn 9 at the moment. And I mean, this guy has been the star of the Pro-Am class for my money. He's shown fantastic pace, definitely belying his I rating, I think. And it'll be interesting to see what he can do from here. 6th in Pro-Am at the moment. Can he up his overall position as Chris Ireland goes to 8th place, also a Pro-Am car. Smith goes 127.5, and that's not going to be quite enough. I think he might have gotten contact over the course of that one, but we'll have to wait and see.
I think Hayden will be on a second push lap now. I think he can get a few laps out of these tyres. I think the first lap he might struggle a little bit still with colder tyres, so I think it looks like he's pushing on for a second lap. We'll see how we go as we go on board with number 30, Job Stewart. This is the fastest part of the racetrack race. We expect about 220 kilometres an hour. Let's see, producer Jay, he's not fouled me. 222 kilometres an hour, so very close to the top speed of 225 we're estimating, and a very nice flow through 4 and 5 for Job. It looks like he's on a really good lap so far, Reese.
Yeah, turn 5 is really difficult. It's a quick turn, goes out on this very wide straight, but you would have noticed that on the right side, the wall sticks out a little bit. It comes back at you when you think you've nailed the apex of the corner, so Job obviously very aware of that. Martin Lofthouse going into P10 in the meantime in car 87. That's a nice run up there. Still 2nd place in Pro-Am. Now, does Job Stewart have enough here for a quick lap? It's been looking nice and under control, but oh dear, he tapped the inside wall at turn 10 there, and that ping-ponged him into the outside wall as well as Ireland improves to 4th overall. That's a magnificent time from the 623. Hayden Smith finally gets a lap on the board. It's good enough for P7 as Hayden Veld pips him to 6th.
Looks like the battle in Pro-Am tonight's going to be really, really good. There's less than a 10th separating the top 4 in the Pro-Am qualifying standings so far between Ireland, Veld Smith, and Jackson Pringle as well. So very impressive for 4 of the top 10 to be Pro-Am drivers. So those guys certainly turning it on tonight.
Yeah, Lofthouse putting in a good time too there. Good enough for 13th overall. Looks like he's on an in lap at the moment. Of course, the no escape rule is active in these sessions. In previous AOG Porsche Cup seasons, it wasn't active in qualifying, so you could just pull over to the side of the track and escape back to the garage. Not so this season. So the ERT car in the background, I think, has just earned himself a little chat to the stewards and maybe not taking any further part in this session as Dyson goes ever faster. 125.6 now is the pace set at the front of this field. Not too far ahead of Bowler, though.
No, it's very tight between the top two. Only 0.04 of a second separating the top two at the moment. They got quite a margin back to P3 and Ben Pedersen. So those two, Dyson Bowler, the class of the field at the moment, as we go back to Matthew Boylett, who currently sits 9th overall, P5 in the pro class. Will he have an improvement on a 26.1? He does, 26.0. They'll jump him up a few spots to P6 overall. So very nice up there for the number 80 of Matthew Boylett.
I'm amazed at how close the times are in this session. I mean, I know that street circuits are often the great equalizer in any form of motorsport, but man, seeing the gaps here, it's crazy. Dyson and Bowler obviously a long way ahead of everyone else relatively. It's only a matter of a few tenths, but from Ben Peterson back, we've got drivers only separated by a couple of hundredths each. So here's the ERT car in question. Looks like it was Sebastian car 84, and that's interesting. Is that a pedal failure maybe?
Looks like he's had some type of drama where he tried to make back in the pits by the looks, but completely missed it. So I think maybe a hardware issue of somewhat, because he obviously tried to get back in the pits and unfortunately didn't make it. And Dylan Shepherd has also asked for a tow in the number 43. So his qualifying session will be over as well, as we're into the final 3 minutes of qualifying race. Matthew Bowler's only got a couple hundreds to find to try and top the 41 of Andrew Dyson.
Corey McFarlane asking for a tow too, and he's got pretty significant damage. Looks like he's had big contact with the wall, and the front right of the 94 is destroyed. Looks like the OK has been given by race control. We'll see what happened to him. This was on the way through the first turn of the lap, so he gets on the brakes, but he's gone a bit too deep. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, losing the rear end, and the mirror went flying as well. So, yeah, no surprise to see that that car was not going to be able to make it back to the pits under its own power. Only a couple of minutes left in the session. What can Ben Peterson do here in P4?
Looks like he is trying to improve on a 26.009. Pearson 4th in class, 6th overall. Going to shorten his run to the line. He will improve to a 25.3. Wow.
Nice.
We were saying before that Dyson and Bowler were class of the field. He's just topped him by 3/10. So is the track getting quicker? We'll find out in the next just under 2 minutes. Dyson, he's on another lap. He's going to go 25.33. So just short of Ben Peterson. So we'll be watching in vain what guys like Job Stewart and Matthew Bowler can do in the final minute and a half of this session.
Huge improvement from Corey Bennett. He goes from 18th overall to 8th. That's excellent job there. And Stewart now is feeling the pressure here, I think, to get himself a bit further up. 5th in class, 7th overall. It's going to be a bit of a slow start for him if he can't improve on that lap time. Remember, race 1 only takes 15 laps, and it's going to be an out-and-out sprint, and that's another little appointment with the wall there for the number 30. I think he's been having a bit of trouble keeping it out of those barriers. Let's see what kind of improvement he can make in these last dying seconds of the session. Remember, it's a heat session. Hard cut to the end of qualifying. If you're not on a lap right now, if you're not at least halfway through it, then you won't be able to make it to the line in time. Sproul improves to P5 overall, and that makes it an all-pro class top 5. Stewart to the final corner now. Is this going to be enough? Will this be the lap that he's looking for? 1 minute 26.3 for Job Stewart. That's unfortunate there as Bowler also not quite able to improve either. That's going to be the end of their qualifying session. Ben Faulkner, I don't think is going to make it to the end of this lap. It only leaves Zach Hanlon and those around him to complete a lap, and Hanlon is not going to do that. Straight into the pits. That is going to be qualifying done, because in only 5 seconds, the session will reset. Everyone will be kicked back to the garages, and we'll be able to get the grid here for the first race of the night at the Chicago Street Circuit. Ben Peterson on pole position, with Andrew Dyson starting alongside him. Fantastic performances from the both of them. Matthew Bowler, another few tenths back, is going to start alongside Matthew Boylett, with the third row of the grid taken up by Sam Sproul and Christopher Ireland taking the Pro-Am class pole. Starting in 7th, Hayden Smith, once again putting on a great performance, starting alongside the number 30 of Job Stewart. The top 10 is going to be rounded out by Corey Bennett and Hayden Veld.
11th and 12th will be Paxton Chan and Jackson Pringle. Behind them, the 84 and the 24 of Sebastian Flock and Zachary Hanlon. Marlon Lofthouse and Ben Faulkner will be 15th and 16th. Row number 9 will consist of Ryan Jones and Kenny Conomos, and rounding out the top 20 will be the 43 of Dylan Shepard and the 52 of Thomas Inns.
Starting in 21st is Stuart Ellis. He's got Tyson Broad for company on the 11th row. David Clark is going to start alongside Sean Linsell for Evolution Racing Team, all Pro-Am row there, with Jake O'Reilly and Connor Nixon making it an All Vermilion Motorsports row 13. Alan Dawson on the Pro-Am class pole starts alongside Joshua Van Treek, and then rounding out the top 30 we got Stephen Tonkin and Jack Anderson.
Damien Taylor and Stefan Lawrence will be coming off 31st and 32nd, the two Right Sim racing cars. Orlando Black and Jordan Ferguson, 33rd and 34th. Dean Reddit and Scott Leberfer, 35th and 36th. And then back to Adam Jepson and Nicholas Garrioch. Greg Patrick and David Leslie ran out the top 40 and the remaining cars on the grid. Unfortunately, Corey McFarlane wasn't able to set a very decent lap time in qualifying. He'll roll 41st. Ricky Hyde, Tyson Hanmar, and Hayden Vickers were out the 44 cars that are still in the server. Looks like Levi Shaw has left the server, and also Ricky Hyde as well. Unfortunately had to leave, so looks like we'll have 43 cars on the grid for this race, and I can only think of one where that comes to mind with 43 cars around Chicago. I think you can pick which word that will be.
Yeah, is it a 4-letter word starting with S followed by show? I honestly don't really know at this stage. Honestly, the racing has, for the most part, been clean in this series, but there has been a potential for very big incidents throughout the field. A reminder of the format down in the bottom right. They've got manual safety cars. I'm guessing that we're going to see at least one tonight with the amount of cars taking to the start here, but the drivers will be racing for that all-important top 12. We'll keep an eye on 12th position towards the end of race 1, because whoever finishes there will start on pole for the second race of the night, and that is truly the feature. Twice the race length. It's going to be magnificent. Getting ready now for the grid timer to end, and we should start hearing the revs rising in just a few moments. Standing start here at Chicago. What chaos will this bring? Ben Peterson on pole for round 3 of AOG Porsche Cup, and we are away. Brilliant start there by Peterson. Andrew Dyson having to immediately protect from Matthew Bowler, who's trying for second. Very deep, meanwhile, for Sam Sproul, who makes contact with Bowler, and that's created some chaos. The track is almost blocked. There's an incident behind as well on the apex of turn 1. Massive damage for many cars involved there.
Unfortunately, might get an early safety car here with all those cars parked up. Unfortunately, Shepard there, Sproul in the 606 has gotten a little bit too hot, and we are safety car already, Reese, so we predicted there would be one. I was hoping it wouldn't be lap 1, but this is the situation we're in, unfortunately. It's still going on at turn 4, Reese. It's still going on. Matthew Boyler's turned around as well, so it's all going on.
Goodness me, okay. We're going to have a lot of replays to dissect over the course of this safety car period. Bowler, that is a big loss here from the first race. That car looks way too damaged to continue. He's going to have to wait for everyone to go by, and hopefully he'll be able to limp that thing back to the pits. But only a short race here in race 1. Unlikely that he'll be able to gain any further positions. Bowler was already on the back foot after the contact with Sproul in turn 1. That has just completely destroyed his race there.
Yeah, I'd like to try and get a replay of what happened with Bowler there. Unfortunately, my iRacing cameras aren't playing with me at the moment, playing nice, so I can't really see anything, but unfortunately Bowler's got a blown motor, so is Stuart Ellis, he's parked up. So a lot of guys with a lot of damage, so we'll go back to the start, where we will see the mistake from sending around the 606, get into Bowler at turn 1, who's got a little bit too hot. Bowler gets through that with minor front end damage, and there was another PRT. Very mid-pack after that turn like this.
He had nothing to do with it.
There was contact on the inside. I couldn't quite, like I said, my replays aren't playing nice with me, but it looks like there was contact between two cars. One of them was sent barely into the wall, and unfortunately into Bowler, and unfortunately he's copped the raw end of it. Unfortunately, Bowler 2 times in the first couple corners.
Yeah, oh, that's a shame there. Goodness me. So we see another view of that incident at the back. It looked like Nicholas Garriott also going into turn 1 a bit too hot and collecting the wall, and unfortunately everyone piling into the same corner with little to no runoff. There's only one way that's going to go. So hopefully there's a few drivers in the field that have learned their lesson from that, and we'll take it a little bit easier into turn 1 when the race 2 start comes around. You already see the safety car emerging from the pits behind there to pick up the leaders. Here's a view of Garriott. Just locks up on the way in and straight on into the wall. And well, again, it's a case of drivers just not slowing down. I mean, they would have been getting yellow flags and spotter calls to alert them of that.
Yeah, I think a few of the guys at the back there probably didn't react quick enough, and unfortunately, in the case of Garage, unfortunately, ruined his race just driving it too hard in the corner, and those cars parked up, and unfortunately he'll have some pretty major damage too, but unfortunately there's a lot of guys ahead of him that were caught up in that turn 1 incident at the front end, also mid-pack as well, so a lot to digest for us and a lot to digest for race control. Certainly don't empathise those guys whatsoever right now.
Yeah, so at the front of the field, Peterson, nice and easy, keeping the tyres warm. And unfortunately, Matthew Bowler's doing a good job of keeping his engine warm. He's trying to limp it back to the pits on the other side of the circuit here. But you can clearly hear from the car that it's not actually getting any drive to the wheels. So hopefully he'll be able to get that one back there and get some repairs done. Other than that, see the right rear? It is not turning, so definitely the drive shaft has been broken.
Yeah, it's no surprise for the massive hit he got in the rear from that car that lost control going into turn number 4. So hopefully he can get back to the pits. There is one fast repair, so he may be able to get back out. Unfortunately, he's a lap down, so all he'll really be hoping for is some more chaos and try and get some points back. But unfortunately, you know, 2 cases of just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately for car 12. But the 2 up front, fortunately for them, they got away with all that chaos, and they are still 1-2 Peterson and Dyson. Job Stewart benefited from that quite a bit. He's up to position number 4 at the moment, so a lot of guys are getting benefits from all that action at the start, and unfortunately, on the flip side, a lot of guys are really affected by that start. Looks like a lot of them have fixed their damage too, so it looks like quite a few of them have gotten back out in this race, and looks like there'll only be 2 cars a lap down.
Yeah, one of them being Matthew Bowler, who's just re-emerged from the pits himself. A lap down on everyone else. Stuart Ellis also a lap down now as well. If there's another safety car, then they might be able to get back on the lead lap, but to my knowledge, they don't do wave arounds under safety car in AOG, so they might just be stuck down there for the rest of the race and have to battle hard in race 2. The light's still flashing at the moment. Simon Mazzomo in the AOG safety car. They use the McLaren 570S in this league, and the livery for the pace car has been provided by WormPaints. Lovely looking livery there, definitely stands out, as a safety car should. It remains to be seen whether or not... Okay, we've just gotten the confirmation. Safety car in this lap. So, yeah, I had the question in my mind, and it was immediately answered.
Safety car coming in this lap, like you touched on, Reese, and will we see round 2 of the chaos on the restart? I certainly hope not. Hopefully we can get some good racing for the end of this race. We are time certain as well if we don't get the laps in. 25 minutes for the first race. Still got just under 18 minutes remaining, so I think we should make it for the full 15, as Simon Mazzomo in the AOG safety car is starting to pull away from the field just about now. He's going to make me look like a fool. He's pulled away a little bit, but he hasn't... There you go. He's pulling away now, so he didn't make me look too silly, Race, as Ben Pedersen will have control of the field and wait for that safety car to pull in and try and pick a good time to take off and try and get the best lead he can off this restart.
Yeah, but how will he do it? I would presume that the apex of the final turn is where he will go from. That's what makes the most sense to me. But he could very well go just before the final turn as well, catch everyone by surprise. Whatever he does, Dyson shadowing him quite a bit here, and it looks like just at the turn-in point for the last corner, he goes. We are back to green flag racing in the AOG Porsche Cup, and Andrew Dyson already on the attack here, rounding him up in the first turn. Looks like a pretty clean start from our front runners. Is there anyone who's trying to make a move into turn 1 down the field? No, it's single file the whole way through. So the chaos might just happen. We have to wait a few corners for it to happen, though.
So far, so good for the field. Nice and clean down into turn 4. All orderly single file through. Pedersen still under pressure from Dyson. Matthew Boyle looks pretty racy. Position number 3 as well. He's got a couple car lengths over Job Stewart, so it looks like at the moment that these top 3 certainly have probably a tiny pace advantage over the rest of the field, but still a long way to go in this race. 11 laps remaining, and it's all to play for at the moment. We've got to move down the inside there by Dylan Shepherd on Corey Bennett, and that's position number 10.
Yeah, getting into the top 10 there for Dylan Shepherd, and even the safety car is not immune to the abrupt pit entry here at Chicago. Simon Mazzomo couldn't make it back in. So this is the situation further back in the field, right on board with Ben Faulkner, who's currently in 10th in the pro class, and he is massively pressuring the back of the drop bear car up ahead of him. Tyson Broad is the one in that position. Also seeing a move, Thomas Hins getting past Ryan Jones in car 11 at the final corner. So those are the moves being made for now, and it is on for the lead with, oh dear, hello. Interesting stuff here from Matthew Boylett. He's going for it as Sean Linsell has to go wide for Thomas Hins here. Manages to gear it up for the run onto the back straight. Looks like this move's starting to be made all through this field as Boylett has gotten into second place.
Just trying to see what happened to Ben Pedersen.
Fall into third, yeah.
Yeah, Pedersen had a big moment exiting turn number 1, lost the rear end. That let Dyson in, and unfortunately, with hot rear tyres after the big slide, unfortunately lost P2 to Boylett as well. So we'll catch it on our Bowler Media replay. Exited turn 1 at a massive moment, Pedersen. Lucky to keep it out of the wall, actually, on both sides of the racetrack. Tokyo Drift vibes there, Reese, and Dyson down the inside. And we have incident turn 6, one of the Broad coffee machines, the 031, has had a spin. So one stranded car on the circuit. That is David Clark, the 031. So hopefully he can get back in action. A little bit of front end damage on that car, but he has recovered, so he's still going, and we're still saying green race.
Righto, so now it's on Ben Pedersen to try and get back second place. Oh, and he's tapped Boylett in the rear, and off he goes. Job Stewart follows him through. Don't know how happy Boylett's going to be with that one. What I have noticed from Ben Peterson so far is he's been going into the corners a little too hot. Here's how it happened here for David Clark. Just a little tap from the rear. Connor Nixon, who was involved in that.
Looks like Boiler, he's dropped a spot as well to Job Stewart. So the Altus number 30 machine looking racy in the middle of part of this race, chasing down the 881 of Ben Peterson. Samuel Sproul, probably no surprise, black flag for the contact, lap 1, turn 1. So as Job Stewart down the inside of Peterson, very risky move there into 7, but gets the job done and will hold on to position through 8-9. So fantastic move there from the number 30. He'll now put all his effort in to try and chase down the 41 of Andrew Dyson.
Yeah, exit walls don't seem to be Ben Peterson's friend at the moment. The whole reason Job was able to get that move done was Peterson went a bit too hot into turn 6 and tapped the outside wall, which killed his momentum. This is the battle for the Pro-Am class lead, meanwhile. Chris Ireland versus Hayden Veld. These two battling very hard between themselves, and it's for a position in the overall top 5. So a lot to play for here. Defensive from Ireland coming into turn 2, but that should give Veld a little bit of a better run through the corner and get into the slipstream for the run down the back straight to the most difficult section of the course. Some good racing going on up the top of this field so far. Not quite enough for Aidenveld to get up the inside. Meanwhile, it looks like a drive-through penalty for Martin Lofthouse. That was for the contact with Flock at turn 1. So race control finally getting through everything that went on the first lap here.
One thing we also have to keep in mind, Reece, as we near the end of race 1, there is a 12-car invert for race number 2. The top 12 will be inverted from their finishing position of this race for race number 2. And at the moment, that's Kenny Conomos and the Vermilion Motorsports 022 under a lot of pressure from Tyson Broad in behind. So that 12th position will effectively start pole in race number 2. So that's going to be a very important battle to watch as we go through the final 7 laps of this race.
Yeah, keep a close eye on that on the timing screen. Replay, meanwhile, for Thomas Hins getting past the ERT 554 of Sean Linsell there. Looks like Linsell's already carrying quite a bit of damage here from all the shenanigans that have taken place over the opening laps here. Job Stewart still holding on to second place here, meanwhile. And Peterson has been trying his best to hold on here, but just seems to be lacking a tiny bit of consistency compared to those around him. I noticed that Boylett keeps getting tiny runs on him, just isn't able to take advantage. I think that's the track playing to Ben Peterson's strengths here in a way. He's been able to hold on, but only just. Meanwhile, insert decision from race control for the 031 and the 168 as, oh dear, looks like trying to go for the pits there was Sam Sproul to take his penalty. Ended up getting a tap from Flock. This battle for second place, it now includes 5 cars. We've got Chris Ireland and Hayden Veld catching up to the back of this 3-car pack.
Yeah, it looks like Job's just struggling a little bit for pace. The last time by, 3 tenths slower than race leader Andrew Dyson. So not sure if Job's got any damage or he's just struggling for pace in general, but it looks like he's a bit of a cork in the bottle at the moment, the number 30, which is pretty surprising.
Safety car.
Second safety car of the race.
Okay, what's happened there? Is it Sproul? Hello. Him and Josh Van Treek are turned at turn 2. Interesting.
I think that is the reason. He must have pretty big damage there, Reece.
Oh, God, yeah,
it
is big damage.
We'll try and pick up a replay because, unfortunately, Joshua Van Treek made a mistake.
Yeah.
Tried to re-enter the track and, the replay will tell the rest.
Yeah, and onboard angle from Sproul if you can, Jay, because I think that would be a very nasty surprise for all of the viewers. Regardless, that neutralizes the battle for the second place for the time being. It also eliminates the advantage that Andrew Dyson has gained. He was leading by 2.5 seconds when the safety car came out and was looking quite comfortable. Looks to me like it was an incident between Van Treek and another car too. This is the onboard from Sproul. Wait for it, wait for it. Surprise! There's Josh Van Treek recovering from the spin that he was involved in. And it was actually, he was trying to pass on David Leslie, was Van Treek. And unfortunately got whacked aside. Here's another view of it. So he goes for the move. Leslie turns in, and Van Treek just gets smacked around. The 87 of, I believe that's Lofthouse, having to get on the brakes. And, well, yeah, Van Treek was trying to recover, but through came Sproul, and that was all she wrote.
It looks like after the fact as well, while Sproul was on track, Stuart Ellis came in under safety car a little bit too hot. He got into the side of Samuel Sproul as well. So the 73 of Ellis, he's sporting a bit of front end damage as we watch Garage on the Bowler media replay. And the 66, big moment.
Ooh.
Big moment through the exit of turn 10 there. And he's got massive damage on the rear end there, Reese. So I think he's going to have to come into the pits and get that fixed. I think he's already probably used his fast repair after that lap 1 incident. So I don't think we'll see the 66 back on track for race number 1.
That's a shame there for Nicholas, but shows the perils of this track. You don't have any space on exit to make a mistake. If you go in too hot, that's it. You're getting into the wall. So safety car should be out for one more lap, I think, at this stage, after they cross the line, making their way down one of the back straights of this circuit at the moment. But yeah, now the pressure will be on Andrew Dyson to get this start down pat. Once he got into the lead, it seemed like he was able to keep it nicely, because as you mentioned before, Brady, Job Stewart was having trouble sort of keeping up the pace with everyone bearing down on him. I wonder if it's going to be a slightly different situation on this next restart.
It definitely could be, Race. I think Dyson probably will be feeling the pressure from Job on this restart. I'm not sure how many. We're not going to go green this time by, so I'm sure we'll have a 3-lap sprint to the end. We might even be time, so we may only get 2 laps in. So it's going to be an all-out sprint in the final couple laps of this race between Dyson and Stewart. The two guys that were the fastest cars, no doubt, at Sebring in round number 1. So Boylett's also shown pace in this race, so is Pedersen. So all these guys are within a shout, but I think it's going to be down to those top 2 in Stewart and Dyson.
Hayden Vickers, unfortunately, retiring from the event. He was involved in one of the many incidents that we've seen so far, and thus far hadn't made it back out on track. So across the line they come, and yeah, with only 5.5 minutes remaining in this race, and a safety car lap around here taking about 2 minutes and 15 seconds, or give or take a few either side. It looks like, yeah, we are only going to get 2 more laps of racing in once they go green.
Yeah, it looks like we will be going Thompson, unfortunately, with the 2 safety cars in race number 1. A little bit of chaos ensued throughout this race. Still, P number 12 is Kenny Konomos, an all-important invert spot for race number 2, still held by the 022, and a lot of big movies in race number 1 as well.
Wave rounds.
In wave rounds as well. Looks like it will be Bowler getting a wave round and Stuart Ellis, but they may be able to get a few cars at the end to improve their starting position for race number 2. But I'll touch on Dylan Shepherd, plus 10 in this race. Sean Lindsell, he's plus 8. So is Connor Nixon, plus 8. Damien Taylor, plus 10. Corey McFarlane from 41st to 22nd. So a lot of big movers in race 1 where he's trying to save all the chaos.
Yeah, done successfully in the case of Damien Taylor. From outside the top 40 to touching on top 20 is a great run-up, no matter which way you look at it. So at the moment, with everyone making it out of turn 5 here, and Bowler and Ellis just making their way through the final 2 turns now, they might be able to catch up to the back of the queue by the time things get started here. So It'll be up to Matthew Bowler and Stuart Ellis now to improve their starting position for race 2 by as much as they can. And particularly in the case of Bowler, it will certainly sting because he was one of the fastest cars out there.
100%, and I think Bowler will try and... I think he'll make some inroads. He's still catching the field, so he'll be probably a little bit behind the field as we go green. But I think he will try and make some hay in the last couple of laps and try and make it a little bit easier for race number 2, as Andrew Dyson is now in control of the field. The safety car of Simon Mizomo, the beautifully painted AOG safety car by WormPaints, our series sponsor, is now in the lane, and Dyson takes off straight away between 11 and 12, and we are green. 3 minutes on the clock, so I believe we will get only 2 more laps of racing here, Reece. So Andrew Dyson's got all the pressure on him with Job Stewart in behind.
And Bowler and Ellis haven't been able to catch up to the back of the queue, so I think they'll be racing in those positions to the end. Yeah, brilliant start from Andrew Dyson as
big
Matthew...
moment in the background, Reece.
Oh,
Turn
yeah.
one again.
Oh, no, it never ends. That's one of the Riot sim racing cars. In fact, is that both of them? Oh, good. Alan Dawson and Ryan Jones. No, yeah, Ryan Jones, part of the DPR squad. And, oh, that's big damage there. The front left is gone from that thing. That might be another tow. And could be yet another safety car. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it looks like Dawson just got in way too hot into turn 1 race and unfortunately turned the back of Ryan Jones, as we have another incident between 4 and 5. It's Jordan Ferguson around in the 69, so it all continues on, Race. Unfortunately, the mid-pack is still just causing chaos. Ferguson gets the car turned around. Tyson Hanmar also spun around at turn number 4, so it's all going on in the mid-pack, but Andrew Dyson, he's coming up to turn number 12 as we speak. We might get 2 more laps in.
Oh, yeah, we will.
We're going to, with a minute 20, under a minute 30 lap time, I think we're just going to get the last 2 laps in, so we're just going to make it full race distance, but it's still all going on in the mid-pack.
Yeah, it is. And tell you what, keep an eye on P12 overall, because Kenny Konomos is under lots of pressure from Thomas Hinz here. Corey Bennett sitting pretty in the other Vermilion Motorsport car. But look at Hinzy's run here out of turn 2. Not much of a passing zone, this turn 4 and 5 complex, but we know Hinzy's a good racer. He might be able to pull it off. No, he decides that discretion is the better part of valor. Better to attempt at the next corner. It's all about the exit here, and look at the run he gets. It's not much of a run, but it could be just enough. Is this going to happen for Hinz? Is he going to start on pole for race 2? That's a bit of a dive there. He gives Konomos a bit of a look, but Kenny is wise to it and does not yield. Up the front, though, Andrew Dyson. Oh, dear. Hello. Is that one of the Drop Bear cars? Yes, it is. That's Corey McFarlane having to go defensive now and keeps Connor Nixon behind him. And up the front, last couple of turns for our top drivers. Andrew Dyson comes through the final corner and is going to make it race 1 victory here at the Chicago Street Circuit. No, there we go again. I am absolutely not paying attention to the time left. I really got to stop that, Brady. Maybe I need a midday coffee.
Possibly, Race. I think we're only about 5 seconds, honestly, from being white flag last time by, so we're very, very tight on time, but this battle for P12 is still raging on. Kenny Konomos still holding on. P number 12, Hinzy, has a lot of damage on the front and rear of the 52, so that's going to make it even more difficult for him to get it done on Kenny. So this will be a very interesting battle to the end of this race. Looks like Kenny has a pretty good control of the car through 4 and 5. He'll get off turn number 5 pretty nicely. I think he should be safe, but Hinzy looks very, very racy coming to turn number 6, so this is probably his last chance to get a move done. I don't think he's going to go for a move. Hinzy for Pino 12, this could be risky. He pulls out, so very nice move there from Hinzy. Didn't want to risk a move and a potential penalty there, so very nice from the number 52 as Andrew Dyson up in front. He's still pulling away. He's through the 9-10 complex into 11. It looks like he's pretty safe as Job Stewart, I think, got to the inside wall there at turn number 11. he'll still continue on with the field in behind, but Dyson, number 41, will take the checkered flag in P1 once again. Round number 3, race 1, goes to Andrew Dyson and DPR machine. Job Stewart, P number 2. Matthew Boylett rounding out the podium. And Kenny Economos will hang on for P number 12. And more importantly, that will put him on pole for race number 2 here tonight. So, despite the 2 safety cars race, the racing last week there was plenty of action to go around.
Yeah, that absolutely was. I think I'll just chalk that down to me living a lap ahead of myself, because ultimately the results we were looking at were the same at the checkered flag and at the final lap. Stefan Lawrence taking the AM class victory there. No, it's a problem on the final lap. Oh dear. Yeah, it looks like heavy damage for that car. Was he one of the drivers that we saw involved at the first corner just a few moments ago? Ryan Jones was down there too. Looks like he might just limp it to the finish. It's a real shame. No matter what happened to Stefan Lawrence, we'll see here. Looks like a move being put on him there by the number 87, and it was Lofthouse, and put him into the wall. And that's one of the big dangers of turn 4 there, Brady. It's exceedingly difficult to go side by side.
Looks like another broken left rear drive shaft there for Lawrence. Big damage there on the 05 too. A lot of incidents for race control. Dean Yeaman and his crew, Tom Wilkinson, I believe, Mazomo. All those guys are going to be very busy post-race tonight, looking at all those incidents in race number 1 that they couldn't just get to because there was so much chaos. But up front, it was Andrew Dyson, the 41 machine, winning by just over 1/10 of a second over the Altus Esports number 30 of Joe Stewart, with Matthew Boylett rounding out the podium with Ben Pedersen in position number 4. Chris Olin, P5, and also the race win in the Pro-Am category in front of Hayden Veld and Hayden Smith as well. So good little battle there between the Pro-Am guys. Paxton Chan working his way to position number 8. Dylan Shepherd 9th, and Zachary Hanlon rounding out the top 10. He was also up 4 spots. Dylan Shepherd up 10 spots. So fair few guys moving throughout the field there, Reese. I think we're going to go to a quick commercial break before we get to race 2, because I think we need to get regain some of our breath back after that first race.
Yeah, we do. Let's check out the class results first, though. Dyson, Stewart, and Boylett, of course, top 3 in Pro. Tyson Broad getting into the top 10 there. Looked like a very nice battle between him, Hins, and Konomos as we go to the Pro-Am standings shortly after this. Man, I got a feel for Sam Sproul. It was a bit of a rough run for him. Chris Ireland taking Pro-Am by a second over Haydensveld and Smith, with Steve Tonkin getting into the top 10 as well in Pro-Am. Remember, he was the AM class champion last season. Jake O'Reilly rounding out the top 10 in that class. It was a big field in Pro-Am too, with it ultimately being rounded out by Jordan Ferguson, Ryan Jones, and Nicholas Garriott retiring from this first race. And then finally, AM results. Damian Taylor was the one who took victory in that class. Adam Jepson and Jack Anderson rounding out the podium. And of course, remember, Taylor started down in 31st place there. Fantastic run up through the field from the 611. But that's going to bring things to an end for the first race of the night. We're going to step aside for a few moments here on SimSpeed TV and bring you race 2 right after this. You're watching SimSpeed TV. This is the AOG Porsche Cup Round 3 from Chicago, on board with Hayden Vickers for the start of race 1. On replay, you can see just how far back he was starting round the final corner. So many cars involved in this series, plenty of entries early on, and the chaos just emerged there at the start of the first race there. Vickers getting on the brakes and locking up right into the two cars that had already come to a stop at the first corner. Reese Gardner here with Brady Baldwin in the comms box and Jay Kennedy in the producer's chair. Looks like warm-up has completed and we can go through the grid for the second race here. Starting on pole position, it is going to be Kenny Konomos in car 022. He's going to be starting alongside Corey Bennett. Hanlon and Shepard on the second row with Paxton Chan and Hayden Smith rounding out the top 6. In 7th place, it will be Veld, and starting alongside him, Chris Ireland. Ben Peterson is going to start alongside Matthew Boylett with Job Stewart and Andrew Dyson. Rounding out the top 12 there, Brady. From then on back, it's pretty much where they finished in the first race.
Yeah, race. It's Thomas Hinds and Tyson Broad, Faulkner and Jackson Pringle. Corey McFarlane was the biggest mover in race 1, started 41st, finished 17th. So very impressive there for Corey. And Connor Nixon starting 18th. Behind them, Sean Lindsell, Damian Taylor, Orlando Black, Adam Jepson, Steve Tonkin and Jacob O'Reilly. Jack Anderson, Sebastian Flock, Martin Lofthouse, David Clark, Greg Patrick and Matthew Bowler were ranked at the top 30.
Yep. Lefebvre, Dawson, Leslie, Ellis, Van Treek and Hanma rounding out the top 36 cars. And then we have Dean Reedit with Jordan Ferguson, Stefan Lawrence and Ryan Jones rounding out the top 40. Then we have, it looks like Sproul might take to the start along with Nicholas Garriich, but don't know if we're going to be seeing any more of Hayden Vickers after how that first race went. And of course, Ricky Hyde and Levi Shaw not taking to the start in race 1. They're not here for race 2 either. So everyone just waiting now for the last couple of seconds here, as we can confirm that Hayden Vickers is indeed on the grid for this one. So we will have an extra car taking part here tonight. And it looks like a couple of grid spots being left free there. Maybe a couple of drivers are deciding to start from the pits, or if they're deciding to just call it a night after a very chaotic race 1.
Yeah, it looks like a few guys are probably taking their time to get to the grid, probably take a breath like we just were, Reese, to get on the grid. Looks like Thomas Hinds is probably one of the last cars still yet to grid. We've still got about 40 seconds remaining until lights go out, and not sure what to expect from this. Obviously, Konomos and Bennett, they had a really good scrap late in that race with Hinds and Tyson Broad for that 12th position. It'll be interesting to see what guys like Andrew Dyson, and Job Stewart can do from 11th and 12th.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to make up places. At the same time, it might be easy to make up places if there's a big crash ahead, but where do you go if there's a big crash in front of you at this place? 30 laps on the cards here for race 2. Could very well work out to less than that with a 15-minute time limit and great potential for safety cars. We also have a restricted fuel tank. There's possibly going to be pit stops in this race. It starts now with Kenny Konomos leading the field away here at the start of race 2. We are away, and that's a fantastic start from Zach Hanlon. He absolutely nailed that. So did Dylan Shepard, who gets the second phase down pat, already up to second by the time they get into turn 1. Now, when's the crash going to start is the big question. Everyone getting through turn 1 cleanly, at least in the front and midfield, and it actually looks like everyone's taking it easy there through the first couple of corners. Oh, scratch that. I just cursed it all. It's one of the riot cars around, and who's that in the background around 2? Yeah,
Pringle on 011.
It is, yeah.
Turn number 2. We're going to try and pick up my replay. Looks like it was contact with Corey McFarlane in the 94. So, unfortunately, Jackson Pringle, he's going to be right down the back after a really good race 1, finishing 16th. This is unfortunately going to do it really tough for the remainder of this race. We have another car stopped at turn number 5. It's Thomas
Hinds. Hinds, who just missed out on getting into the top 12 at the end of race 1. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, it's continuing.
Oh, the triple two. The triple two has also stopped on Jake O'Reilly in the Vermilion Motorsports machine, missing the front bumper. Will we get a safety? There's another
Peterson at turn 9. That's on the inside too. Drivers don't have any time to react. And Sean Linsell as well. Okay.
It's going to be bad.
So everyone was just waiting until halfway around the lap for everything to go off.
Oh, it's continued on. Pedersen's got hit. This will be a safety car. This has to be a safety car.
Oh, now Kenny Konomos is trying desperately to keep the lead there from Dylan Shepherd. It looks like Jack Anderson was the one that got into Peterson, who has heavy damage. Might be able to get back to the pits and take a fast repair. But let's see then if race control decide to call the safety car. They won't have much time to get their position sorted if that's the case. And there it is. There it is. Peterson not able to make it around to the pits. And no wonder. That car is completely screwed.
I think we've got a lot to unpack from a lap 1 again race. I think we'll start with Jackson Pringle at turn number 2. Then it continued on with Ben Peterson there at turn number 9, and also Jack Anderson got into him, Thomas Hinz's incident, Jake O'Reilly. So we've got 3 or 4 incidents to try and unpack while we're under safety car here, eh? So unfortunately, we got through turn number 1 nice, and then it all kicked off at turn 2 as we will go to the bowl immediate replay. There was contact from the 94 into the, I don't think there's really much in that. And there's another spin up ahead too. We completely missed that coming out of turn number 2. It's one of the right cars. Can't quite tell who that is. It was Hayden Smith in the 672, so he's been affected.
Oh, there's Hins. He was just on the outside into turn 4 and couldn't get it stopped or turned. Stuck in the middle of the track, everyone forced to slow down. Then we flick further up to Ben Peterson. See what happened to him. Looks like Hayden Veld in front of him struggling to keep control of the ERT Porsche. And where does this end up happening for Peterson? He has a little look. That's probably half a defense as well for the attacking DPR car. But, do they just come together here? Yeah, they do.
So it looks like Olan tried to stick the nose underneath. Unfortunately, got into the side of Pedersen and was lucky. A lot of guys avoided him. One of the right cars got on the wall, and then another ERT car spun in the... That was Lindsell spun in the background, and then very, very difficult spot to be in. He reverses out of the way to get off the racing line, but unfortunately, a few guys... Jack Anderson was one of them. I think he already had damage and unfortunately got into him late. So I think Anderson already had damage on the left rear.
Didn't actually make contact with him.
Pedersen, so
look at the hop from that thing. It looks like a lowrider at this point. Oh, that's a shame. This is what happened to the Riot car of Hayden Smith. Looked like that was a combination of just spinning up the wheels and getting tapped around as well. Such a shame for many of the drivers who were looking for good results in this second race. Here's another view of how Ben Peterson was turned around. And
a bit of netcode race.
Yeah, maybe. It looks interesting from that angle. Maybe part latency, part losing the rear.
Unfortunately, Lynn's on the background too, just trying to take avoiding action as a few cars were just getting in the wall. Just so much to unpack once again, Reese, and I think that last hit on Pedersen probably finished it off as we go on board. Job Stewart, there was air between them bumpers, Reese. It was very close, but there was definitely a little bit of daylight between those two bumpers there.
Yeah, and I think that's Linsell, I think, getting turned there. And I think, once again, this speaks to just having your eyes on stalks on the first lap. That's in both races now. We've seen drivers just firing it into a section where there's a car clearly stopped ahead, and they would have been notified of that by their automated spotter. So, and they also would have seen yellow flags up as well on screen. So, yeah, I question... not so much the judgment, but rather just the awareness of some drivers in this field on the first lap.
Yeah, just so much to unpack. I think guys are probably just maybe overdriving just a little bit especially on the first lap. We've seen both races, first lap incidents, especially when it's tight racing. We got over 40 cars on the grid. I think just probably not enough give and take between some drivers, but I mean, we're not out on racetrack reach. We can only speculate what's been going on, but looks like everyone's going to be back on track for this restart. Pedersen's going to be one lap down, unfortunately, due to his damage. I'm not sure if he towed and is coming back on track, or he actually made it to the pits. I think he did tow. So I'm not sure if he will actually be allowed to continue the race. I'm not 100% sure on their AOG rules with that, but it'll be interesting to see how the guys that got affected in that, like Hins and Lindsell, recover from this. This is on board with Corey McFarlane, the 94. So this is around the outside was Pringle.
Ooh.
Yeah, I said it when I first seen it. It looks like just a bit of a racing incident. Looks like McFarlane really didn't do anything wrong. Probably didn't expect that car to come around the outside, especially at turn 2 on lap 1, cold tyres. So I think that's unfortunately, it has just been called no further action from race control, that turn 2 incident. So I think the right call's been made there from the race control team.
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't really blame McFarlane for that. He had a car on the inside, car on the outside. There's only so many places you can put a car when you're thrust into the midst of a situation like that. Well, safety car should be pulling away from the field, but just before we get the start, we're going to have a look at one more incident. This was also on lap 1 at the very end of it, and that's the 666 of Nicholas Garriott getting involved with the 303 at the final corner. So now the field falls under the control of Andrew Dyson once again. Let's see whether or not he'll get a quick start on here. Sorry, not Andrew Dyson, it's Kenny Konomos. I'm really sorry about that. We got our cars confused once more. Konomos through the final corner, and away we go. Nicely done at the apex of the final turn. But Dylan Shepherd is right on the attack. They've left Zach Hanlon in the dust there. Konomos defensive preemptively into turn 1, and it looks like Hanlon's having to make way for Paxton Chan and Hayden Veld there as a bit of a slow start from 218. But for the most part, looking pretty clean as Tyson Broad decides to take advantage of that little coming together and try up the inside into turn 4. Oh dear, be careful. Get on the brakes. Has to fall back into line there for that very difficult turn.
Looks like they're all orderly so far. I'll try not jinx it like you have so far this race, Reese. The guys have gone through single for Damien Taylor in AM, P14 overall, going for the move. He actually just let Andrew... No, I'm actually on the completely wrong person. I apologise. But yeah, Damien Taylor, P14 overall in the 611. AM driver, P14's pretty fantastic. And we know the car's fun.
Oh no.
53, is that?
That's
yes,
Hayden Veld. And that's on the way into turn 8.
This could be bad as well. Hopefully everyone, he's in a half decent position for everyone to get around him. This
Orlando Black, jeez. That was a heavy hit to the wall.
That car is not healthy, Reese.
No, and I think he's already pulled over. No, he's managed to keep going as Veld gets himself turned around. Kenny Konomos is still holding off Dylan Shepherd for the race lead here.
Not by much.
No, not by much indeed, and it's only going to take one corner exit for that to come down. Here's what happened to Veld. He tried up the inside of, that was the number 24 of Hanlon, who was already going down positions. Oh, Konomos! Oh, goodness me! All right, that's a heavy hit. Dylan Shepherd is now through to the race lead. Looks like Shepherd tried the move at turn 4. He didn't exactly make contact with... Whoa, hello! That's a big dive there by Paxton Chan. He gets into second place. Konomos back into the lead. And look who this has brought right into it. The Altus car of Job Stewart, who gets contact from Shepherd. Hurls it up the inside at turn 8. It's Biff and Barge. It's bumper cars here in the AOG Porsche Cup.
We touched on it in our ad break. When there wasn't safety cars, there was some fantastic racing throughout the field. It's now turning it on. Konomos went a little bit wide. Sorry, trying to get my words out. There's so much going on. Went a little bit wide at 4 when Dylan Shepard was down the inside. Got into the wall. He went back to P2, regained the lead with Shepard running wide at turn number 6. So it's all happening. And now Job Stewart into position number 3 from 11. So he is on the charge in the number 30. Paxton Chan up to P number 2. A fantastic drive from him as well.
And trying around the outside is Chris Ireland on Tyson Broad at turn 1. But Broad with the tighter line keeps the place. Oh, he's lost the rear into turn 2, though. That's going to allow Ireland by, as well as Matthew Boylett, and they should filter into line there in turn 4. So, okay, tiny little bit of calm once again before the storm begins once more. Sorry, the 666 is not Gary Itch, it's David Leslie, and it looks like there was drive-through penalty assigned to Reddit in the 303 for that contact as Hayden Veld sets the fastest lap as we're getting back into a rhythm here. Tell you what, some really good racing there at the front of the field. Could have been a little cleaner, but I mean, I don't think you can expect much more from a circuit like this.
Yeah, I totally agree, Reese. I think these guys are just giving enough room to keep it clean.
Ooh, Chan.
But also make the racing... Oh, the 28 has massive... Ben Faulkner.
Oh, no.
Massive left front damage on that car. Left rear as well. So he's had a massive hit into the wall. Hopefully he can get around back to the pit. So we'll go to the Bowler Media replay on cue once again. The 28. Oh, he got a hit from behind. From Bowler.
From Bowler. Yeah.
So that's going to be another one for race control to have a look into and see if Faulkner can try and make it around to the pit lane. Oh, he's not in a great spot there, Ben Faulkner. He's trying to get to turn number 11. So see if he can make it back to the pit. But man, Reese, this is a 30-lap race. I don't know if the drivers know that, but it's a 30-lap race. We're only on lap 8. We've had so much action already. There's still another 23 laps to go.
Yeah, it looks like hopefully Faulkner's going to just be able to make it to the pit lane as the race continues up the front. Paxton Chan with a couple of dents in the side of his car, piling the pressure on Kenny Kanomos, but we also have Job Stewart there as well coming into the 6th turn. Oh no, Faulkner's stuck. Yeah.
This will be a safety car. He can't. He's got no drive, no turn. He's not going absolutely anywhere. So
the field's coming up to him here. They're going to have to be careful.
Oh, there's the leaders. So there is a safety car now. So drivers will hopefully no one gets into him. That's the hope, that no one gets into him. I think everyone will take a bit of caution now.
He's just off the racing line. Should be good.
Hopefully no one just runs wide and makes a mistake. But it looks like everyone's slowing. And people are taking their pit stops. We did. So, a few guys have come into the lane trying to pick up who the first guy is.
Ireland
it's
and
Chris
Dyson.
Ireland for the first one. This could be a smart call. I think some other guys might be relying on another safety car to try and sneak home with a big fuel save. I'm not sure of the numbers, if it's possible, but I think with a few, it looks like Chris Ireland's stop time wasn't actually that long. So, makes me think they don't have to take on that much fuel to make it home. So, we'll have to keep an eye on the 623 to see how his race fares. Looks like he's only come out in 18th position, so he's really not that far back. 6.3 seconds in the box suggests to me he didn't have to take on that much. So we'll have to keep an eye on, obviously, the battle up front, but also the 623 of Ireland, see where he pans out. If all these other guys have to pit, he might be in the box seat.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting here. I mean, I would say it's a very unlikely possibility, but there is a possibility that there won't be another safety car in this race. So, you know, if the drivers that are pitted now will certainly have an advantage there. If everyone else is forced to take a green flag pit stop, it looks like this is the onboard view from Matthew Bowler, and it wasn't contact with Bowler. Faulkner got into the inside wall at turn 8 by himself.
There you go. Apologies to Matthew Bowler for accusing him of murder. Preempted, but...
He's been exonerated.
It did look like on initial camera that he did get into the back of him, so we were only going off what we initially seen. So thank you, Producer Jay, for showing us the following replay of that. exonerating Matthew Bowler of any of his crimes that he committed today.
Of course. Honestly, sometimes it can be a tough job as a commentator in a race like this. You know, the TV angles, they don't often show everything that you'd like to see of an incident. That's just the nature of the circuit. It's not a complaint, but it does make it more difficult for us to really determine how an incident has actually played out. This camera view would certainly be a nice one to have permanently at a track like this. Unfortunately, trained on the stricken car of Benjamin Faulkner, and we're seeing more pit stops in the midfield. Looks like Stuart Ellis, Hayden Vickers, Jordan Ferguson, Corey McFarlane in for the second time. Looks like Jack Anderson's coming in again as well. So maybe they're just topping the fuel tank up a little more. Drivers that have taken a pit stop under that first sort of run, they include Stefan Lawrence, Tyson Hanmer. It's all jumping around on my timing screen, so I can't keep track of who's where. Thanks very much, guys. Yeah, basically all you need to know is more than half the field has thus far come into the pit lane.
And Christopher Ireland, I believe, is the leader of the guys that have pitted. He's position number 13 on the road. So he's in front of Dyson. So did Dyson pit? Because
he did. He did under the first round of pit stops.
I must have missed that. So Ireland is now the leader of the guys that have pitted. So him, Dyson will be the ones to watch. I think Greg Patrick in behind them. I think he has stayed out. Potentially Matthew Bowler has stayed out as well for track position. I'm not too sure. So, like you said, it's all a bit
Bowler
jumbled.
Did come in under the first run of stops as well.
So I think those are probably the three guys to keep an eye on. Will be Ireland, Dyson, and Bowler. Depending how this race goes, we could get 1-2 more safety cars, and they can make it. These guys could probably make it home on field that haven't pitted. So we'll honestly have to see how the rest of this race plays out. This time by, we still got 20 laps remaining, so it's a long way to go, and it's a lot of laps for a lot of action to happen. Samuel Spreyer, shout out to him, 42nd on the grid after that terrible race one. He's up to 11th. So fantastic drive from Samuel Spreyer in the 606 machine. So we'll see how much more progress he can make.
Yeah, still owes us a pit stop, though, as do the rest of the top 12, including Greg Patrick in 15th, Jackson Pringle in 17th, Van Treek in 19th, Damien Taylor in 21st, and David Leslie down in 25th. Everyone else has visited the pits at least once so far.
A lot of mixed up grids at the moment, mixed up track position, I should say, race, so... So a lot to play out in this race. We've seen Job Stewart make some really good moves in those last few laps to get to position number 3. Obviously stayed out of all the chaos in the first couple laps, and he'll be looking to push on and try and get past Paxton Chan in the 51 and Kenny Konomos as well. So a lot to play out in this race. Like I said, 20 laps remaining this time by. I assume the safety car might be in this lap, so we'll still have 19 laps to go when we go green, hopefully. 30 minutes on the clock, so we still might be touch and go on a time certain race.
Yeah, it's probably going to take one more safety car to really tip us into time certain territory. So, yeah, this is the big question now for everyone on screen at the moment, and the rest of the drivers inside the top 12. When do they take their pit stop? I'm not sure exactly how many laps you're able to get out of a tank with this fuel tank restriction, but they might be in a bit of trouble if the race stays green for a good amount of time, and they'll end up falling to the latter half of the field with pretty much everyone else deciding, yeah, it's fine, we don't have to come in again.
Yeah, 100% race, and it looks like safety car is coming in this lap, so I'm going to try and quickly do some maths and see how many laps that these guys can do on a tank while we're commentating. So I'm going to try and multitask a little bit here and see if I can try and get some numbers on the fly as we go here.
All right, I'll give you some time to do that and call the actual start here as the safety car gets on the power, pulls away. Hopefully Simon Mazzomo can make it into the pits this time around. But Kenny Konomos, for the second time, will be leading the field away on a restart. But crucially, Paxton Chan making his way up into second place with some very brave moves before the safety car came out. Will Job Stewart and Dylan Shepherd be able to do? Can Zach Hanlon make himself an element in this and join his new teammate at Altus Esports, Job Stewart? Towards the final corner we come. Looks like some technical problems for Matthew Boylan, meanwhile blinking a little bit. But the power is on for Kenny Konomos, and a flat six Symphony descends upon the streets of Chicago once more. Konomos already defensive into turn one. Paxton looking for a move up the inside, but ends up getting into the rear of Konomos, who goes wide through turn one. And there we go. Job Stewart through into the lead. Can Dylan Shepherd take second? Yes. He goes right through the middle of Konomos and Chan.
Unfortunate there for Konomos. Got a really good restart there. Just unfortunately, Paxton Chan just got into the back of him just a little bit, unsettled the rear end of the 022, and all that allowed was for Job Stewart to slip down the inside and take the race lead. So I think it's going to be pretty hard for the field to try and get to the number 30 for the rest of this race. As David Leslie, unfortunately, in this 666 machine, he's got quite a bit of damage on the side of that car, as Zach Hanlon looks down the inside of Matthew Boiler. That's position number 5, and he'll hold on to that position.
Yeah, only just, as we see what happened here to David Leslie. It was all by himself, getting into the wall. Went way too hot into the first turn there. And I don't know if he's going to be able to make it back to the pits. We might see another safety car from that too. But crucially, Job Stewart into the lead here. But Dylan Shepherd is pressuring him. Looks like Leslie's just limping along. It's going to be difficult when the field comes back through here. They're going to have to negotiate him, hopefully. It's on a straight. So if they come to him in a sequence of turns, oh no, that's Greg Patrick who's gone around, falling down the order in the AM class as Hayden Vell gets into him. Then the Riot car comes in and taps him as well. This is a bit awkward. Fortunately, they're just off the racing line. But here we go.
David Leslie's parked up just up ahead with damage. So
yep.
Not sure. I think he might be told to try and get onto the escape road there and escape. So drivers have been warned. Let's hope for no more chaos. I think he's going to try and get to that escape road and be allowed to escape. So we don't have another safety car. So let's hope everyone stays out of the way. He's in a very awkward spot on the entry of turn number 4. He's doing the best he can, David Leslie, in the 666. He has gotten to there, so I think we will stay green for now. I just done some numbers race from the tank capacity of 45 litres. We should get 21 racing laps on a tank of fuel. So with the safety cars, it's going to be very touch and go. One more safety car, maybe able to get home, but I think it's going to be very touch and go with only 2 safety cars.
Here's what happened to car 77. Patrick, a little bit offline and compromised, and then got tapped around by... did he get tapped around by Bowler? Don't want to accuse Bowler of causing an incident and be wrong for the second time this race, but certainly looked like it from the initial few frames that we saw. So keep that in mind. Here it is. Oh yeah, that was very deep from Bowler.
That was contact, so I don't think we can plead his case this time, Reese.
All right. Yep. No. His lawyer's out to lunch. Job Stewart still leading from Shepherd. Kenny Konomos, meanwhile, still in third, but it looks like Matt Boylett has been passed by Zach Hanlon in the background there, and Hanlon's looking for a move on Konomos. Not a great place to do it, not a great place to go for the lead either. Shepherd has gone up the inside at that corner before, but it's ended in tears for the driver he's been trying to pass. Fortunately, Job Stewart was able to keep out of the concrete that time around.
That was very, very tight quarters ahead between Shepherd and Job Stewart. They were lucky to get out of that one, as Bullet and Hanlon still going at it. Position number 4. Bullet will have another look into 7. Very deep move from Boylan in the number 80. They're going to go side by side. Bullet again blinks. Looks like he gets out of it just to be safe. We'll hang on to position number 5, but all these guys are racing for sheep stations up the front areas.
Going to be a lot of roast lamb being served for dinner tonight, I think. Job Stewart still holding off Dylan Shepherd up the front. There's been no change there, but man, there's been change all through the field, including here for the 68. That is unfortunate
again,
there. Yep, safety car again. It's been called for this car. And that's Orlando Black, I believe. Yeah, we already saw him in the wall at the first turn. And whoa.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get understeer in turn 4. The car will be destroyed from that. Pretty much wiped out the entire left side. So that calms things down again. It also gives a chance for everyone in the top 10, plus Jepson, Clark and Pringle further down, to make their way into the lane and not lose as much time as they would pitting under green. But since the safety car's already collected them, it doesn't matter if they pit now or not, they're going to fall down the field.
I was just about to touch on that, Reese. The safety car picked them up very quickly, so they had no chance to pit under safety cars. So unfortunately, like you touched on, they're going to lose way too much track position if they pit now. So I think a lot of them will be fuel saving, based off my numbers, like I touched on before, 21 laps, maybe 22 with a little bit of a save under green flag conditions. So I honestly don't think you'll save 8 laps of fuel with 3 safety cars. I could be wrong, but it seems like a lot of laps and a lot of fuel you've got to save. So I still think that these guys do have to pit, but I could be made like an idiot, look like an idiot, sorry, and they might make it home. But I think it's going to be very touch and go for these guys that have not pitted yet.
So coming up on 22 minutes to go in the race, we've already had 2 safety car periods so far in this race.
3, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is the third. So, yeah.
I think we're going to be trying to set as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be trying to do math in the head. How many laps we got left in the race? Go back and see if they might have no people for some race, not necessarily for 30 lap mark. We've only just over 22 minutes remaining. Sorry. We're still going to go time some of the amount of laps left. So I think the drivers might be safe up in front, but it's going to be very touch and go either way, I think.
Yeah, it's the same maths that I'm doing in my head. That's the exact point I was going to make. Because I mean, obviously you think about a 30-lap race distance, then they definitely wouldn't make it, even with a few safety cars. But now that it's time certain, that takes at least a couple of laps out of the race distance. We genuinely don't know what the deal is for these drivers, how much fuel they have left, how much they're pushing, etc., etc. I do know that there are 2 cars currently in the pits, Sebastian Flock and Josh Van Treek. Orlando Black has already gone into the pits. That's a second visit to the pits for Flock, Van Treek, and Jordan Ferguson as well. So they're just topping up their tanks to make sure that they can get to the end. Either that or they've picked up some damage and they're repairing it.
It looks like Sebastian Fox actually retired the car from race 2, so he's out. So it'll be interesting to note in our post-race interviews, whoever we get to interview, at this stage it would be at least Job Steele for the pro category, how much fuel they will actually have at the end if they don't make a pit stop. So I think it's going to be very tight, so it'll be interesting to hear from these drivers that haven't pitted how much fuel they actually have left, because it's not going to be much.
No. A lot of questions to be asked here. As it is confirmed, Orlando Black has now retired from the event. We'll be seeing no more of him after that huge whack of the wall in turn 4. It looks like there's going to be at least one more lap under safety car here before we get things started again. So, drivers who have not pitted yet. Job Stewart, Dylan Shepherd, Konomos, Hanlon, Boylett, Chan, Broad, Tonkin, Lofthouse, and Sproul. Everyone in the top 10. You include Adam Jepson and David Clark there in 14th and 15th. And also Jackson Pringle down in 17th. So that makes it 13 cars that have yet to give us a pit stop.
Still a lot
Can
to play
they
out.
actually make it to the end?
Yeah, race. Still a lot to play out in this race. Lot of laps left still in this race. I think if we go on green this time by, I'm trying to work out math. If we get 17 minutes, minute and a half lap. My maths isn't good, race. My maths isn't good. I can't work it out that quickly. But yeah, we've still got a lot of laps remaining in this race, so still a lot to play out. A lot of opportunities for drivers to make up ground. So still a lot to play out for, like I said, and should be pretty interesting. Samuel Sproul, he's up 32 positions. We touched on that in the last safety car race. And there's our class standing. Obviously, Job Stewart leading pro Stephen Tonkin. A fantastic job for him. He's 8th overall and leader of Pro-Am, and Adam Jepson leading the M category. He's in 14th overall. So a lot of mixed up positions within the Pro-Am, and M categories this race, which I quite like.
Yeah, I like it too. It's been a very entertaining event, if nothing else. These are the weather conditions, 36-degree track temperature. That's a little bit down from what it was in qualifying. And it's interesting to note because we've actually progressed in the day. So, looking to me like pretty reasonable conditions for these cars. Warm track temperature, so the tyres shouldn't take too long to get up to temperature, though they will still be skatey after some time being spent touring around at only 60 k's an hour under safety car. Lights are off on the pace car meanwhile, and at the very same point, Simon Mazzomo gets back on the power, and the field falls under the control of Job Stewart this time, with Kenny Konomos still sitting in 3rd place. It's been a really good run for Kenny after that 12th place finish in race 1. So now the pressure is on. Dylan Shepherd keeping Job Stewart honest there at the front of the field, right on his bumper. And it's the apex of turn 1 that is of the last turn that has been the place to go for a lot of the time, but Job Stewart is waiting a bit here. Oh, he's backed him up. He's backed them up. Concertina, goodness me. Few cars now with damage. Stewart had one go at it, then another.
That maybe looked at pace race. He looks like he got on the gas and then backed off straight away, so he's got rear end damage on the number 30 machine. Will that affect the handling on that car? Dylan Shepherd, he has the exact same damage. So does Kenny, so does Hamlin, and the whole top 5's got the same damage, so I think they're all in the same boat. Really is. Job Stewart will lead us to turn number 4 again, a chaotic restart in this AOG Porsche Cup race number 2 here at Chicago Street Course. We will go to a replay. It looked like Job took off, and then it looks like he definitely didn't go, or everyone behind was too keen. I'm not too sure. It's going to be a lot.
Yeah, maybe from Stewart's perspective, he got on the power a little bit, and maybe Shepherd overreacted. I don't know. Have to get his perspective if we get a chance to talk to him. But regardless, that's not the ideal start. You can see how many cars in the top 5 now have damage to the rear end as well as the front end. Well, here's the bright side. If they do have to pit before the end of the race, they can at least take a fast repair.
That is exactly right, race. They can get that damage fixed if they have to pit. Predicting, I'm thinking by my guess, we're going to probably go. Oh, we have another car off in turn number 9. It looks like Garriodge. It is the 66. So he's had a moment through the 8-9 complex. He's kept the car going though. As we have, looks like another incident at turn number 11 on the right. Sim racing cars. Is that
Taylor?
David Taylor.
That was a re-entry. I mean, not really a re-entry because on a street circuit you're always on the track, but probably could have waited a few seconds to get going there. Unfortunately, the car that came in there getting some damage. What all of this has resulted in is the top 2 breaking away. Dylan Shepherd still pressuring Job Stewart, but Konomos has dropped off the back of them. He's now under attack from Zach Hanlon. Not much of an opportunity to slipstream down these straights, but there is an opportunity to outbrake. Moving over to protect the inside is Andrew Dyson. Sam Sproul behind him. Matthew Bowler's looking to get in there as well, but Bowler's just gotten news that he's been black flagged. That's for the contact with car 77, Greg Patrick, some time back. He tries on Sproul and turns him around and gets hits into the wall. He's on his roof. He was on Sproul's roof for a second there as well.
I think this might be another safety car race.
Yeah, I think it will be. And that's also involved the 623 DPR car. Jeez. It seems like every single lap we get some kind of incident here. Safety car called. Is the safety car going to get out in time to collect the front of the field? No.
So I think if they have to, they will box in. It looks like Samuel Sproul. He's got massive damage, but he's come into the lane. So he'll get a fast repair and possibly top up on fuel if need be. He's the only guy that I can see that is in the lane. But race, is there a full moon out tonight?
I think so. Here's Bowler trying to move on Peterson, but that was optimistic at best. I think he hit the inside wall as well as getting into Peterson. The gap just wasn't there. Now there will be no need for Bowler to take that penalty because he's already penalised himself massively. This is the onboard view. He tried to switch to the inside and, well, I mean, there was some overlap, but Peterson was going to commit to the corner anyway. The track narrows up quite a bit on the exit there. And I will say, going back to live pictures, Job Stewart is clutching in every single braking zone. He's trying to save fuel. He's thinking that he can make it to the end from here.
Well, again, with another safety car, that will reduce the laps in this race. So, obviously, he thinks he can make it, but he's got to save. So, it's going to be, we touched on it on the last safety car race, it's going to be tight. And if he's clutching, it definitely means it's going to be tight. So, he is pushing a little bit now, so we'll have to see what he does. He's coming to turn number 12 now. Safety car is ready to pick up the field on the exit of turn number 1. He stayed out, so is Shepard. Kanomos has as well. So, it looks like these guys are staying out. Push the end. This is the safe Bowler Media replay. That was Gary Odge, sorry.
Yeah,
I was trying to think of the name.
Yeah.
So that was contact with one of the drop bear cars, potentially Tyson Broad. I could be wrong. This is Taylor in the right sim racing machine. He gets contact in the side. And this is going to be his re-entry. Probably not his... Yeah. Oh, not nice to look at, Reese, but...
It was David Leslie who got into him.
Both cars are still going, which is probably the main thing. Just in probably not the circumstance they would have wanted. So, yeah. Still a lot to unpack, Reese. So they're in 5th gear. Yep. So he's definitely fuel saving 5th gear, low revs. And I assume he'll be a lot of clutch. So go to full fuel save mode at the moment out front. So he's going to push to the end. We're just over 11 minutes remaining in the session. So I think we're probably going to be in the single digits of laps remaining. By lap count, we'll have 9 laps to go this time by, but we're definitely not going to get to that 9 lap mark. So I think in maybe 5 to 6 laps, maybe 7 at best, just depending when we go back green flag racing. Bowler is still on track on the exit of turn number 7. So definitely won't be this lap. I'd assume he'll get a clear to tow once the field passes, and we will go green next lap, hopefully, and we'll get a few laps sprint to the end.
Right, so safety car periods have lasted for about 3 laps tonight. Assuming that they keep Mazomo out for another 2 after this, and considering safety car lap times are in the 2-minute 20 bracket, that means another 6 minutes and 40 seconds under safety car or thereabouts once they cross the line here. That will bring us to about 5 minutes to go, potentially less, which means it is going to be less than 5 laps of racing remaining.
So not long left at all left in this race. So Bowler has been cleared to tow in the number 12. So looks like hopefully we're going green flag racing this time by. Again, shout out to all the race control guys, Dan Yeaman, Tom Wilkinson, Tom Mazomo, safety car driver, also in race control. It's been probably a tough night for those guys. They got a lot to look at post-race and obviously everything in the race as well. And more importantly, no further action on that safety car restart between Shepard and Job Stewart. So looks like race control have deemed that it was all okay from those 2 drivers. So they'll press on and hopefully they'll have a mega battle for the race win end this race off.
Yeah, okay. So evidently, yeah, Job Stewart didn't back the pack up like we initially thought he would. Corey Lazarus, he might not be racing tonight, but he is present in the YouTube chat, pointing out that Long Beach is the next round. And if this event at a street circuit was anything to go by, I think we're in for more of the same potentially in 2 weeks' time as waiver rounds are given to David Leslie and Ben Faulkner.
As an experienced veteran racer, I don't think you'll need, but I might need some voice lessons to try and get through the next round of Long Beach, because like Corey touched on, if this race is, you know, how it is, I think Long Beach is going to be much the same, because that's an even tighter street circuit. On the 10th of October, we'll be visiting Long Beach in these cars, so especially, you know, obviously the turn one fountain, the hairpin at the last corner. Very tight corners. This track's a lot more open and flowing than Long Beach. So hopefully the guys have learnt the lessons from tonight, put them into practice for the next round. But safety car is in this lap. Simon Zomo will pull away in just a moment from the field. And he hasn't pulled away yet. So he's going to do a late pull away by the looks of it. And Job Stewart again will lead the field away. We've had a few leaders away from the safety car restarts. I think Job's done the last few. Now the safety car pulls away in the entry of turn number 11. So this will be another late restart from Job. We'll see if Dylan Shepherd keeps off the rear bumper a little bit more on this safety car restart. And hopefully we'll get a few good laps of racing in. 7 minutes remaining on the clock race. And we're about to go green flag racing once again.
All right, shortened safety car period on board with Shepherd. Let's see how Stewart does the restart this time. Waits and waits and waits until the last possible moment to accelerate away. And there we go. Green flag in the air, and we are racing what we hope is the final time here at Chicago. Already Konomos on the defensive versus Zach Hanlon, who gets the over-under on him and will likely pass him in turn 2. Will Konomos fight it? Looks like he will. Hanlon has to go slightly wide. Also defending is Matthew Boylett on Tyson Broad, and Paxton Chan is trying to keep Andrew Dyson behind him. It's all going off behind our top 2, who are starting to streak away.
Nice move there around the outside from Zach Hanlon, and turn number 2 is Tyson Broad. Looks for a move down the inside of 4, pulled out of it, thought better of it, will fight another day. Nice little battle pack forming there behind Boylett with Broad, Chan, Dyson, and Martin Lofthouse. Not far behind us, we have another car off at turn 4. It's Tyson Handmark.
Oh, no.
Machine. Hopefully he can keep that going.
Yeah, but that thing doesn't look like it's going anywhere fast. Oh, dear.
Spun.
Oh, man, and that's right in the middle of the track, too. Drivers will have to be careful. Spinner ahead, behind, and that looks like... Yeah. Oh, goodness me. Pedersen, once again, not having a great time there. Drivers trying to make their way through those incidents as our top 2 continue to hold on. Let's see if Hanma's managed to get going. It looks like the car is moving, but it is heavily damaged. So will he come to a stop is the question. This is how it happened for the 18. And looks like Thomas Hins just turning in early there for turn 4. Hanma could do nothing after that contact was made. I mean, Hanma is moving, but that car does not look fun to drive at all.
Looks like the incident in turn 6 also race was kicked off by Paxton Chan, just going a little bit too deep, got into the back of Matthew Boylett. We will pick it up on our replay, and yeah, Chan just got a little bit too deep, clicked spoiler, and unfortunately Tyson Broad left nowhere to go in that incident. Hanma has pulled up on circuit.
Yeah, he stopped.
Between 6 and 7, this could be another safety car.
And Dylan Shepherd trying to go for it on Job Stewart.
Being cleared to tow race. Sorry to.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to be going safety car free for the rest of this race. It seems race controller are tired of constantly bringing that McLaren out. Oh dear. Okay. So last few laps of racing, ready to go here. I'm calling it's probably going to be three laps of racing to the end potentially. Jepson and Dawson, meanwhile, They are hard on each other's tails for the M-Class lead here. They are fighting for the AM win. This is going to be tough between them. We'll see how things go.
4 minutes remaining race, so I will say probably 3 laps left in this race. Is nice little battle there for P number 11, headed by Adam Jefferson as Andrew Dyson. In this safety car riddled race, sets the fast lap of the race, and we have more contact in behind him between Boylett and Kenny Konomos once again. Post-race investigation for a safety car infringement again. So it's all going on for racing at the moment. Dyson now to position number 4. He cleared Boylett and Konomos after they had that little squabble off turn number 2. So Dyson doing a very good job from position number 12 to get as many spots as he can for this championship battle.
Oh boy. What are the championship standings going to look like out of this round? It's honestly been a chaotic night of racing here at the Chicago Street Course, but it's still not over. Dylan Shepherd still wants this win. Job Stewart still wants to make up for race 2 at Sebring and for missing round 2 as well. The cars are bouncing over the bumps here on the streets of Chicago. I'm amazed that these guys are even able to keep control of their cars with the amount they are pushing through a lot of these corners. Out of the final turn, they come with 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go as they come across the line. It's going to be 2 laps to go, and into the pits, that looks like Boylett. That car is evidently too damaged to continue out on the track. They'll try and get a fast repair and at least preserve some kind of position towards the end.
Or he could be out of fuel, Reese. He also could be out of fuel, and potentially I'll try and keep an eye on him. Or he's serving a drive. Has he got a drive-through penalty because he's just driven straight through the pits? I've only seen Paxton Chan get maybe he exceeded the incident limit.
Maybe.
Matthew Boylett. That's what I'm thinking, because Paxton Chan got a penalty for the contact with Boylett on the previous lap. So I'm thinking that Boylett has exceeded the incident limit. We have a car stopped at turn number 1. I'm trying to pick up who it is. Race control have called it in, but looks like they have kept it going. So we have another car off at turn number 5. It's Jackson Pringle at turn number 5.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's got big damage.
Yeah, that is big damage. And can confirm incident limit for Matthew Boylett. That's a real shame, but some commiseration in that Paxton Chan has been given a drive-through penalty from race control for causing that. Coming into the final turn for the second last time this race. 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. This will be the final lap. Barney's waving the white flag. It's all down to Dylan Shepherd now to try and make up some time here on Job Stewart. These two have managed to complete the whole race without taking a pit stop. Andrew Dyson, he took a pit stop early on under safety car, and he's worked his way back up into 4th with a phenomenal drive back up through the field, passing plenty of cars that haven't pitted so far. And now it's down to turns 4 and 5. They take it nice and easy on the way in. You want to try and avoid the wall on entry, and careful of the wall on the inside at turn 5 as well. Look at how much Shepherd is pushing. He is oversteering that car through every single corner, but it doesn't look like it's enough. Job Stewart has gotten into a rhythm now, and it seems he is preserving that pace, which he couldn't quite do in qualifying. Here we go then. Zach Hanlon is defending now from Andrew Dyson, who's trying desperately to find a way past. And how are they with fuel is the question. Dyson, I think, will be good on fuel. Question marks for Hanlon. A lot of jiffing and jiving around these corners. It looks like the battle for third may just come to an end there. The battle for the race win has certainly come to an end. Job Stewart, leading by 1.2 seconds from Dylan Shepherd, will take the win in race 2 of AOG Porsche Cup at Chicago. And it's this drag race between Hanlon and Dyson for third behind. Looks like Hanlon is just going to hold him off.
Fantastic finish there for the last step of the podium between Hanlon and Dyson. Martin Lofthouse, he crosses the line in P number 7. A photo finish there with his teammate Stephen Tonkin.
That's an amazing gap.
A dead heat between the two teammates for P7. Fantastic finish. Form finish there, as close as you would ever want it. Finish. Congrats to those two guys. If I'm trying to look through the results, if my math might be...
Vickers.
Vickers has had a problem in the last lap too. And the Synergy car, he's got massive rear end issues.
That car is not turning right.
It's definitely crab walking on the last lap there. It's going to be a little spectacle to finish off the race here. He's going to make it to the line barely, but at least he's made it.
Crossed it sideways. Well, Hayden Vickers he's used to going sideways, isn't he? Oh dear. Well, last few finishes are going to come across the line here and conclude a ridiculous night in AOG Porsche Cup. How many safety car periods was that? 5 over the course of the night? 6?
I think it was 6. 2 in the first and 4 in the second.
Goodness me. That is amazing. Well, this is the overall top 10. Stewart, Shepherd, and Hanlon are your podium. Lofthouse, Tonkin, and Clark will be the Pro-Am top 3, and of course dead heat between Lofthouse and Tonkin for that one. Adam Jepson getting into the overall top 10 and taking the AM class victory. That's a great result for him.
Yeah, fantastic effort there from Jepson. We'll go back to Dyson 4th overall in class. Kenny Konomos after that pole position finish is 5th in class. Tyson Broad, Matthew Boyler, Thomas Sims, Corey McFarlane, Ben Pedersen. All those guys had woes during that second race, unfortunately hindered their progress throughout the 27-lap journey. We didn't, unfortunately, make it to the 30-lap journey. Stuart Ellis, Ben Faulkner, and then the guys finishing one or more laps down, Paxton Chan, Matt Bowler, Samuel Sproul, and unfortunately Sebastian Flock, an early retirement in this one, Reese.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the Pro-Am class, meanwhile, came down to merely 1,000th of a second at the line between Lofthouse and Tonkin. JWME Motorsports locking out the podium there. Fantastic job from that team, with Jake O'Reilly and Corey Bennett 4th and 5th of a million. Ryan Jones will finish in 6th in the Pro-Am class. Smith, Veld, Linsell, and Nixon are your top 10, covered by 10 seconds at the end of it. And then moving through into the next phase, Dean Reddit, Ferguson, Garriott, Ireland, and Van Treek, the finishers there. Jackson Pringle, unfortunately, with a huge incident at turn 4, was towed back to the pits with a lap to go. Tyson Hanma retires, so does Orlando Black, and Ricky Hyde once again not taking to the start. Meanwhile, Adam Jepson, by a second over Alan Dawson, was the AM class victor. Stefan Lawrence only coming across the line a few tenths behind them. Anderson, Leslie, Vickers, and Patrick, the finishers in that class, with Lefebvre, Taylor, not making it to the finish in any good state, with Levi Shaw not taking to the start there. Oh, goodness. I'm looking forward to a big old breather after this. We do have our Pro class winner in the box with us. Job Stewart joins us as we have another look at Hayden Vickers' adventures on the final lap. Congratulations, Job. Win in race 2. That was certainly a difficult one. The amount of safety cars we were expecting tonight, we were thinking that some drivers would do race 2 without pitting. Did you think that was possible early on?
To be honest, not really. It was pretty, certain that we were going to have to put a fair bit of fuel in. And it was only at that last safety car, really, that I decided I was going to push to the end without pitting. But yeah, it was just, pretty fun race tonight, to be honest, with my poor qualifying in race 1 and then just trying to stay out of trouble. But yeah, it was a fair bit of fun.
Yeah, certainly was. Can you give us your perspective on that safety car restart when Shepherd got into the back of you? It looked a bit interesting from the outside perspective, but race control deeming it no further action. What happened for you?
Yeah, so I think the rule is that you can just, once the person in the lead gets the green flag from race control that the safety car's in pit lane, you can go anywhere from that point on until the start-finish line. So I was just going to wait and leave it as late as possible to try and cover myself into turn 1, and just got a hit up on the backside, and that was that, I think. So that's why they deemed it no further action.
All right, fair enough. Well, after race 2 at Sebring, certainly didn't go your way and you were out for round 2. Obviously, VIR is going to be your drop round. You do have a lot of work to do in the remaining rounds to try and have a run at the championship, with Long Beach up next. What's your goal there? I mean, winning is the obvious answer, but are you going to be approaching it with the same idea that you approached Chicago?
Yeah, I think so. I think the main thing will just be to survive both races, to be honest. As you saw at Sebring, I didn't even last one lap in race 2, which is, hurt me a bit for the championship. But, going into Long Beach, you're just going to be trying to qualify at the front and then, just survive both races and finish somewhere in the top 5, hopefully.
Well, certainly hoping that we get another chance to talk to you at Long Beach, Job. Who would you like to thank for your results tonight?
Yeah, I just like to thank all the Altus guys, and thanks to Blake Purdy for being my spotter tonight. And also good job to Zach Hanlon as well, my teammate on 3rd place there.
Excellent job there from Job Stewart and Zach Hanlon here tonight. Next up, Brady, we've got Martin Lofthouse in the box with us, taking the Pro-Am class victory in a dead heat with his teammate.
Firstly, Martin, congratulations on the Pro-Am win. Firstly, how did your night go? Because obviously, behind the commentary box here, it was utter chaos for us. So how did it play out for you?
Yeah, heat 1 was a bit of a mess. I got caught up turn 1, I think. I think it ended up being my fault. I got black flag for it. And then so I was just trying to recover after that, and I think we managed to recover at least into the top 20. Wait, so into the top 30, so to get a better position for race 2. And then again, I think I spoke to you last week, said the same thing. You just have to try and survive and try and dodge all these flying cars. So.
Yeah, there was a lot of flying cars throughout that race. We obviously seen a lot of guys try and save fuel during that second race as well. Did you end up making a pit stop in that second race, or did you try and conserve right at the end?
No, we figured, obviously Steve and Dave as well were all talking about it throughout the race. We figured there was going to be more and more safety cars, so we were just we saw a couple of guys dive in early for that early stop, but we were always going to try and run long and just hope that we got enough safety cars to save enough fuel and go time certain.
So can I ask, how much fuel did you actually have left at the end of the race? We figured it was going to be tight.
4 litres, I think, at the end, because I think we finished a lap short, did we? Or 2 laps short, maybe? So, yeah, we ended up, I guess, fine for fuel, really.
Awesome. So, next, it is up for debate where we will go for the next round, but provisionally it is Long Beach, so another tight technical street circuit. How do you approach that pretty similar to how you approached the Chicago street course tonight?
I'm not going to lie, I hope we change it, because it's just a recipe for disaster, but as we saw from tonight, there's just nowhere for cars to go. As soon as someone makes a mistake, there's just going to be a roadblock, so we'll see. Dan said he's going to put it out to a vote, I think, so I'm sort of hoping that we change it up, but again, I guess you've just got to try and dodge the crashed cars.
100%. Hopefully we do get to talk to you again, Martin, but before we let you go, any sponsor shout-outs you want to give?
So Brewed Coffee and JWME Motorsport, obviously our team. I'll give Wade another shout out for the awesome livery. And then, big thanks to you guys at SimSpeed and AOG for putting on the series.
Congratulations, Martin, on your Pro-Am win, and tied on points as well with his teammate Steve. So congrats to both of you, and hopefully we can talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
That's Martin Lofthouse, the Pro-Am winner for round number 3, and Reese, I think you've caught up with Adam Jepson, our AM class winner for round 3 here at Chicago.
Yeah, that was, hey Adam, that was a very interesting night for you. Starting from the very back in race 1, down in 37th place, obviously everyone knew going into this round it was going to be difficult to avoid incidents. Seems like you managed to do that for the most part. How did race 1 go for you?
With a great deal of luck, I guess. I missed the full sends at turn 1 and kind of scooted through 10, 12 positions up, and then just kind of kept picking people having their own issues off and came through at the end. So yeah, I got a bit lucky, I think.
Yeah, well, getting lucky is a big part of racing at street circuits. Coming into the second race with pit stops a possibility, were you thinking from the start that maybe you would go to the race end without pitting?
I think the prospect of getting a couple of safety cars in the race was always pretty high, so our sort of plan was to keep running as long as we can and hope that we get enough that you don't have to pit. A couple of fuel saving moments when we actually got a few green flags consecutively, but yeah, I think we were pretty well gambling that there wasn't going to be a need to pit.
Yeah, righto. How much fuel did you have at the end?
2.1 litres, so enough to get around to the start line and do a couple of burnouts, and then she conked, so had a spare lap up my sleeve.
Nicely done. Well, aside from that, definitely some good points on the board in terms of the championship with 10th place in race 2. So things are looking good for you coming into the mid-season. Is there anyone you'd like to thank for your results before we let you go, Adam?
Yeah, I think the boys over at VMM, they've been helping out a fair bit and set the team up. And then we also have the RSW graphic team supplying us with our paints and the ultimate performance. So thanks to them for making it possible.
All right, cheers Adam Jepson for joining us. And that is going to bring to an end proceedings for tonight, Brady. Provisionally, round 4 is at the Long Beach Street Course, taking place on the 10th of October. If we are at Long Beach for round 4, I'm looking forward to it. But if it gets replaced with another track, thanks to everything that went on tonight, I'll be looking forward to it anyway.
I think either way, it's going to be a good racing race. We've seen amongst all the chaos and safety cars, there were some really good battles up and down the field, and even a really good battle for the lead as well. So wherever we go in 2 weeks' time, I'm sure it's going to turn on some great racing action.
Yeah, absolutely it will. We hope that you join us for it as well. Big thanks to Bowler Media and WormPaints for supporting this series. A huge thanks to the team at AOG as well for putting this series on in the first place. Always a pleasure. I'm Reese Gardner, Brady Baldwin with me in the comms box, and Jay Kennedy in the producer's seat. We are SimSpeed TV, and we'll see you next time.